Hey guys, and welcome to my Kael breakdown. So in this video, we're going to go over positioning, movement, kiting, DPS windows, and tanking. There's lots of tips and tricks in this video, so hopefully you pick up something. This is a full playthrough of the entire fight, and this was our progression kill. Also going to talk about what not to do and things you can do better. Let's jump straight into it. So the first mob that activates is Thralladead here. So we've got 9 seconds, and a tip that I can give you right now is have your tank standing closest to him. He will take about 3 seconds to pick his first target, and in that time, he's going to walk towards the person that is closest to him. So you can have your entire range stack in range of him, and you can use that first 3 seconds to dot him up to cast your first spell before you need to start moving. So that's what we've done here. Now, DPSing Thralladead, it's very, very important that you're, as a DPS, of range DPS, you're very focused on your movement. You need to be moving to certain locations and you need to be moving with a purpose. When you are moving, it's super important that you optimize your DPS on the move. This isn't super important in phase 1, but if you can't do it in phase 1, there's no way you're going to be able to do it in phase 3, where it really does matter. So let's take a quick look on the pull here, and you can see our initial movement.
See how your nerves hold up against the darkener.
4,
Thralladead.
2,
Hey, drums.
1.
Okay, so instantly there. So this was a little misplay. Let's pause for a second. What I normally do is I normally spam BT, and then I would Shadow Word Pain as I moved back. So slight misplay, not perfect, but using that time when we're on the GCD to be moving. New target soon. So new target here. At this point, you want to make sure that there is nobody basically in this space between him. Anyone here is at risk of getting in trouble. So our raid is actually positioned quite well here. Now, our kiting path should be bringing it down towards this corner of the room. So we want to keep him on the wall. And the plan is for our range to stand about here. So I know I'm moving here. That's where I'm going to be. Next kiter is going to take him that way. So let's see what actually happens here. Okay, so right, here's the swap. It's gone on to Struthy. So now what we would expect to see is most of the range be able to gather here. Struthy should, according to our plan, his objective should be to get to this cross as fast as possible. And what that's going to do, that's going to take Thralladead over to that cross, and it's going to allow all of the range to basically stand still and hard burn him. So let's have a look what actually happens. Okay. Now what happens is Struthy has actually kited him through the range. So this isn't kind of what we planned. It was a little misplay, but it's fine. We can definitely cope from this. But if you're struggling to meet DPS checks in phase 3, you'll see here as he walks through, like anyone that is in range of him, he's going to find a new target in 6 seconds. He's going to end up somewhere around here, and we need basically this box to be empty of people. And there are a lot of people that are currently standing inside or around that area. So you are making a good number of DPS have to move, which in turn is going to bring you less DPS. Now, people have asked me about, the phase 3 DPS. How do we optimize? It's by thinking like this. So let's have a quick look. And you see all the range DPS having to move here. Struthy got punted. That's okay. That's something that can just happen. Make sure you're using any defenses. Okay, cool. And now, instead of him ending up on this side of the room on the hard right, and then this DPS player here being able to kite him to the left. So let me bring up my pen again real quickly. So what I would expect to see at this point, Thralladead to end somewhere around here. All of the range stack being somewhere around here. Next range gets targeted and is able to run this way. Thralladead's movement will then move like this. Again, all the range would be standing here, hard burning. Now, what's happened here is we're getting Thralladead pulled into us again, so there's going to be a good deal of range that have to move, I presume. Let's see what happens here. Okay, so he's actually caught extremely close there, and now you see the entire raid over here is having to move. And then on exchange, again, the range DPS have got to move. So you can see that bad kiting, that was not an excellent example of gameplay, but we can learn from that. We can use that. We can watch our gameplay back and do things differently. So that was the Thralladead kite. Kind of how not to kite him, but cool. Stuff, guys. We did have a lot of pulls that were a lot cleaner. Nobody died. That's the important thing. So you hear Scar in there. He's just asked for the other tank to pick it up because he was the last one to get targeted. So those nice, clear voice comms are really important.
Give me a sec.
Okay, just be chill. It's really low threat.
My bad, I didn't know Evercate was going to fall then.
Okay, so that was a good little bit of feedback there. So Narth, I think it was evocating. And I do go and explain this. Each point of mana that you get back is going to generate half a point of threat. So when a mob has 0 threat and it's getting picked up by a tank, using a mana potion or evocate is pretty bad. You either need to get it in before the boss activates or just after the boss activates and the tank has started to generate some threat. Okay, so we've got 12k threat here. We know we're for a good burn. Sanguinar is pretty simple. Every mana you get back, by the way. All you really need to be doing is making sure you've got a fear ward on your tank if you're using paladins. Warriors can stance for it, but plenty of priests in this raid team, so there is a fear ward on the tank at all times. Okay, so after this, you're going to go into Capernian. Cool.
Now,
Capernian's up next. Capernian's main ability is when she comes out, she's going to target the closest person and she's going to fireball them. So that's probably going to be Narth, I'd guess here. Yep, cool. So Narth takes the fireball. That's completely expected. And in that window of her casting the fireball, we'd expect to see the Warlock tank binding the threat there. That's happened. Now, we actually position our Arcane Mages in range of myself, as the Shadow Priest, and the Arcane Mages in range of the conflag. Now, so long as you leave a window behind, so you can kind of see it here. This mage, I would kind of like to be probably more here, but there should be a window between where the conflag targets are and the raid is. So long as people don't push up and stand in here, you maintain this balance. There's never a risk of the conflag getting into the raid. Keep hunter pets out. Hunter pets can be a target for the conflag, and often the hunter pet will end up getting dragged back into the raid with the conflag and AoEing the entire raid. Once the warlock is picking up, they should be clicking off their salvation, and once they finish tanking, they should be getting resalved. So you see the conflag go out, and Narth is the only person taking damage from that. It's super safe to be in range, so long as you maintain that window. So, Narth's burning. The damage I took there was just from Shadow of Death, and it allows your Arcane Mages and Shadow Priest to continue DPSing through this phase.
Poor Blue
Maiden.
Okay, so the next one that's going to come up is Telocus. We've got a tank here waiting. And the thing with Telocus that you really got to be careful with is he's quite awkward to position sometimes with the bombs. And what will happen is the melee will go in, he'll be throwing a bomb, and he'll be throwing it wherever. He'll move back afterwards, and then the melee will get hit because the bomb will land where they've now moved to. So you just need your melee to be super careful here. Again, this part of the fight is not a DPS race. It's good to practice good DPS, but being safe and making sure that everybody is constantly making it into the weapons phase is the most important thing you can do for progression. Okay, so once Telocus dies, I make a call for DPS to chill for a few seconds. Again, just don't pull threat. We don't want to waste any of these attempts. Okay. So I knew we were quite comfortable making this DPS check, and one of the major issues we were having were people pulling one of the weapons into us, losing 2 or 3 people, and the attempt going in the bin. So 5-second countdown once weapons are out. At this point, I'm comfortable in our DPS that we can make it, so long as everything stays clear. We can easily clean up the weapons before next phase starts, because from this point forwards, you're now working on a timer, so you've got about 1:40 from the weapons activating to get them all down before the advisors come out. So Devastation is the axe. This is the important one. It's going to be moved out. So our goal is to have Devastation here. Then we have the main clump of them. And then the bow just gets moved off to the side with the hunter tanking it. So you'll see that happen. You'll see the countdown. Just chilling. And if you're having threat issues,
5,
little countdown
4,
is the best way to go.
3, 2, 1, let's go.
Okay, and at this point we start dotting everything up. Shadow Priest DPS isn't spectacular through this weapon phase, but we just do what we can. Devastation over there on the left being tanked out. And the longbow should be being picked up by the hunter. Yep, we got the hunter over there just behind the threat meter. And at this point we are hard DPSing, so I'm going to run over there and I'm going to dot it. And I'm also going to send my Shadow Fiend on it. That's just a little tip for Shadow Priest. You can get a Shadow Fiend on the longbow. It can cause it to blink sometimes, but haven't really found it to be too much of an issue. Okay. And so the Bulwark has spikes on it, so if you end up with these mobs left, Bulwark, Devastation, and the bow, you want to call for your melee to go over to the bow, and let the range deal with the Bulwark with the big shield spikes and Devastation. So we have 35 seconds with this DPS, so plenty of time still. All we have to clean up now is the bow. So we're going to kill the bow off really quickly. Hunter's done a really good job of tanking that.
The shield on keystone? Oh,
yeah, at this point as well, your healers really need to focus that hunter.
Make sure you've used them. We've got
it can
seconds of regen here, so use that
can
time.
crit the hunter, and it will constantly be blinking at that point. So again, another point on the BC where melee aren't excellent. Alright, so at this point here, you're going to the phase 3. We're going to have to fight all of the advisors together. This is where the fight really starts to get interesting. So the first thing you need to know is if you're too far away from Capernian, she won't actually threat drop properly. And that's going to cause her to run down the room. So it's important that everybody stays close. This is just a little tip that I've learnt over doing this enough times and getting it wrong. If someone runs up the back to get into position for Thralladead, they'll have threat, she'll spawn, she'll run through the entire raid. So advisor's coming up in 2 seconds. Okay, so here I think I look for a Shadow Word Pain on them. Luckily I resisted the fear. I should have had a fear ward of myself if I wanted to do that. Alright, so this is where the kiting really comes into practice here. So all of our melee are working on the 2 melee ads. Thralladead, we basically want to keep him on this wall here as much as we can. And make the DPS, the melee DPS, do the smallest amount of work.
I'm not sale, sorry, Con.
Should be fine now.
Alright, sweet.
Okay,
Sopor.
so Sopor. That's a good one. And again, running him into the melee again. So this is another example where somebody just doing whatever they want isn't optimal. Ideally, again, that rogue should have gone to this corner and brought Thralladead nice and tight on that wall. All the range could have been standing there. And then when he switches target again, it's exactly the same. People never seem to learn, but you got to try, right? The person who's standing in the range stack here just moves this way. Thralladead moves this way. And everyone gets to stand still and burn. So it's so clean. It's so clean if people move correctly.
Here.
And if you are struggling for DPS, that's what you have to teach them.
That's threat. That
so
is threat range.
this is a hunter pulling threat, and this can happen. Ideally, people don't pull threat in this phase. The damage that you do when you go over the threat cap, so it's 10k threat on the person who's fixating on. You can do 13,000 damage. You can go to 13,000 threat. Sorry. If you go over that and you drag him into the range group, you're then making 7 or 8 people have to move, and you're going to lose more DPS than doing that little extra damage as a range player. So Thralladead is now in the middle of the room because the rogue ran to the wrong corner. So this is the tips that you need to take home to your raid. Again, messy.
Can you target soon?
Okay, so he's going to go Narth now. So Narth does exactly what we need him to do. This is the mage here. And he's going to... He blocks, I believe. Oh, no, he called he was going to block, but it was on cooldown, so got clapped.
Yeah, I can jump after this.
Yeah, all good.
It's a threat.
So again, that's a reason if you're playing mage on this, don't block early on, because you may need your block later on. Basically, that death there could have been prevented if Sopor had taken him to the right location, because we never really got him into a swinging kind of a vibe. So something to take into consideration. So this is going down for a tank healer, and now if this goes onto a ranged, again, you would get it back down this wall.
Kill him, kill.
I got buffs on now.
Trigger. He's dead, cool.
Cool, not a problem, he's dead. So dotting up Capernian as we go through. We're actually going to go on the melee target as a Shadow Priest,
If boss up
purely
soon.
based on the fact
Guys,
that
just
we've got that
watch,
shorter range.
Come
Victor
flag.
move.
And the boss is about to come out. So with the boss coming out here, you need to pre-assign somebody to kick the first fireball. He's going to just pick a random target. I think it's proximity based, and it's probably going to be on a DPS, and that fireball will one-shot somebody. So ideally have a mage that does it every single time. He comes out, he starts casting fireball, and that mage kicks the first cast that the boss is going to do.
Fuck. First kick.
So I've positioned myself in a way over here that if I do get conflagged, I'm not going to damage anybody else. Something to think about. You don't want to have all your ranged grouped up, especially if you're shorter range. If you're long enough that you can stay away from conflag. There we go. Conflag on me.
Finishing up.
I should not run over here. I should stay away and just wait.
Telocus.
Just staying away from everybody.
Rogue's cutting.
Dave's a con flag, just think on your.
So Streethy calls there for people not to come near me.
Got kicked down.
Cool. Okay, on to boss. Staying out of the way of Phoenix.
Okay, so your job in phase 4, so we're transitioning to phase 4, the advisors are dead, that's pretty good, we're only a few seconds behind. Phoenixes turn into eggs. You don't want to be near the Phoenix when it dies, but you want to get on the egg as fast as possible. And then you've got your shock barriers. So this Phoenix is going to die, we're going to kill that egg, and then we're going to get back on the boss, bursting through the shock barrier. Super important that your tank, every single time he has cast shock barrier, when he starts the fireball, you preemptively use the shield. And that means if DPS is ever slightly late and they don't break shock barrier in time for the first kick, you will not die. You'll be okay. So get your tank into the habit of using the shield
I got next kick.
on cooldown. Okay, so we just want to make sure we're moving away from the Phoenix here. And I'm watching the health as a raid lead.
Phoenix is 23.
I'm watching the health. I'm calling its health so people know like
Okay,
the
so
percentage.
we have MCs coming up soon.
So I'm calling
We're gonna
MCs
switch to
coming
egg
out
very
soon.
Be ready to go egg. Range. Open your eyes. Look where he
Okay,
is. Okay,
cool.
on him.
Egg is out. Calling for everyone to get onto the egg.
Killing egg.
And your new Phoenix coming up here. So the Phoenix Cutter's job is to get this away from the egg
Okay,
so
and then
Millie
we're
can
gonna go
stay
into
on.
shock barrier.
And I'm looking at timers now, so I know as soon as we're done with this egg, we have shock barrier in 7 seconds. So we need to get ready to get back onto the boss. Okay.
Stabbing MCs.
MCs come out. You've got basically 5 seconds to break the MCs out to get those people to help with the shock barrier. So the DPS that are in charge of breaking the MCs out need to be really on the ball, deal with it straight away, get back on the boss.
Shock barrier in 3
So,
seconds.
we've got 1 to go.
Big hitters at the back needs to stab.
So that's a little late. Shock barrier's up. We're
shock
pushing
barrier.
boss hard. We burned through it really nicely there, but tank should still preemptively use his
next
shield
circle.
bubble. So as a raid lead now, basically,
Nice, I'll take
I
it.
sacrifice personal DPS to make sure
Okay,
that
looking at Phoenix. It's going
everything
down.
in the raid is
Ready
called.
to switch onto it.
So calling the Phoenix is nearly dead. We've got to deal with these
Stabbing
MCs,
and burning egg.
and then we're getting onto the egg. This is very DPS heavy, very mana intensive for Shadow Priest to DPS the egg as well. It's not the funnest job.
Back on boss.
Okay, so we
Moving
watch
from
the
fire.
fire. So these fire
Just kick
things,
down.
just people just move away from. So we've got a good little burn window here. All we need to do is break the MCs out.
Okay, good. Has Phoenix health.
Pretty high.
60%.
60.
Okay, so we're going to push boss. We got
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. For some reason the video is fading.
shock barrier coming up in 6.
Okay, so
Possible MCs at
shock
the
barrier
same
in
time.
3 seconds now. So
And then
calling
we'll
that
have,
for the
like,
raid.
a egg afterwards.
Gotcha,
And
I'll
we've
take
got to
it.
push
Okay,
this shock
push
barrier.
the shock barrier.
So shock barrier is dealt with.
Watch Phoenix, watch fire, watch Phoenix, watch fire.
And then we know
Damage
we're going
comes
onto the
down
Phoenix
something.
soon. So we're
Okay,
just waiting
and
until we
getting-
see that die.
Getting ready to switch egg.
There's the egg
Egg on
out.
egg.
So we're going to burst that egg
Big
down.
range on next kick.
It's a new Phoenix up.
Burning egg.
So in this position here where you've got MCs, maybe 1 or 2 DPS break MCs. Everybody else must stay focused on the egg.
Burning egg, burning egg. Don't fail egg. Stab MCs.
And we just made that one there, so that was fine. And
kick circle?
58% now. So this Phoenix is going to die in transition, providing our DPS stays about the
And we're gonna
same.
push here, and then we'll deal with
And
egg in
shock
transition,
barriers
breaking
still a
MCs.
little way away. So we know
A
we're
little
safe
while to
here.
Shock barrier.
Get these guys
Moving
out.
from fire,
DPS
move
doing a
fire,
great
move
job of
fire,
that.
Move fire, move fire.
Calling move fire because it spawned on top of the raid there.
Okay, pushing boss.
The effect is quite big, bigger than what it initially looks like. So it's important we move the boss there. Boss is transitioning now, so 50.01%. and we just need to wait for this phoenix to die to jump on the egg.
Cool. Okay, we're going to wait for this phoenix to die, then we're going to kill its egg. Do not go in on it. Just let it die.
18%.
So waiting till we see the egg
Stay
here.
away from it. And killing egg.
Okay, cool. So we burn that down, and we've got a nice little window here to just regen
kill
for a
egg.
second. So I'm just wanting to get
And
that
then
spirit
move into
regen
our
in.
Final phase positions.
Okay, at this point you want to kind of get everyone spread around the boss a little bit.
Dangerous second kick. Can we get a back up on 30?
It's
Back up.
nice little RP.
I'll be back up on first two. The first
And
one,
for
then.
some reason I decided
Click solve.
I need wizard oil on my legendary staff. So there we go. Maybe it was the DPS we needed to get the kill. So next phase starting soon. So
Gravity in 15.
during the transition there, you heard a bunch of the DPS talking, and they were, calling for kicks, making sure their kick rotation was reset. So they are ready to go. And you've still got to kick these fireballs.
Phoenix is
So
up. Let's get it kited.
now,
Out of its way.
something to think about, if you are playing a prop paladin, you don't actually need to cons in this phase if there's a phoenix near you, because look at the threat lead that the tank has here. He has 200k threat lead, 200 threat to 158. So if the phoenix is like this, I would just try not to cons and just let the kiter get it
It's
out.
coming towards you.
It's on surf.
Okay, so now we're
Okay,
going
now,
to
This is not good because we are very against the wall, but use what room we can here.
we go into gravity phase, like gravity lapse. Sorry, the boss is squished against the wall, so that's not optimal. That ideally we want it tanked in the middle at the very least. But we deal with this. We live through this. It's just a little tighter than what we would normally expect for the vertical stacking. So we're going to stay away from these purple clouds. These purple clouds are going to reduce your maximum health. So find your little spot. Try not to move around more than you need to. Lots of moving here. I actually clipped a cloud there, but we've kind of find our
We got
find our
first kick
spots now.
slotted for when we land.
Now, when you're in this phase, there's nothing to kick. You can DPS him. You can DPS the shield off and keep pushing him, which you should really get your guild doing. You can do quite a bit of damage in this phase. And the phoenixes that are up, they're probably going to end up on a healer at this
Yeah, we
point.
got so far on
So
first.
it's really good to have somebody
Maintain spread,
target a
maintain
phoenix,
spread.
check threat on it, and call who it's on, so then they can react to it. From this point forward, we just ignore phoenixes and we
Any
just get
chance we
them
move the
kited.
boss here? Moving from
Most
fire,
of the
get
time,
him off that wall. Like
they're getting kited. They're going to be on a healer. So just have your healers pay a good amount of attention. And I did call for a boss reposition here because the tanks, for some reason, just wanted to tank him in the back of the room.
I know it's pretty rough.
He is hard to move as well.
I have a soul stone.
So
Phoenix coming through ranged.
we lost a healer there. He obviously didn't see the phoenix was on him.
Next kick. I'll kick after you then.
And you can hear all the calls going out over Discord about kicking. It's really good to see. So those eggs are up.
Sound
We're
boss.
still
Sound
ignoring
boss,
them.
sound boss.
We're burning
Pushing.
boss. 25%.
So this is just all about the kite now. We get gravity lapsed in 10 seconds, 15 seconds even.
And I'm pretty happy that we're getting gravity lapse at this point, because I know when we're up, we're going to do quite a good bit of damage,
Should you
and the
get
risk
a
of dying
burn?
during gravity lapse is relatively low,
Good.
providing that your
Like with
tank
this.
doesn't lose too much of his
18%.
health.
Stay calm. Okay. Clean spread off the ground on this. Just keep pushing damage when you're in
So we've got a
position.
bunch of phoenixes up. Obviously, they do nothing during this phase,
Yep,
so
don't
that
get
really
dive,
doesn't
don't
bother
give up
us.
anything.
Now, what you can actually do is say, like, you're in this position. One of the best plays that you could do is have one of your healers, like Priest, for example, actually click off their salve, generate a heap of healing threat, and then when you land, that Priest can then run to the back of the room and just get those phoenixes out of the raid, which will give you the time you need to DPS the boss down. Just for the record as well, this is a progression kill, so this is the first time
Phoenixes are right on the boss
we kill
field
this
when we go
in
down.
this team. I've progged this on the Paladin, so
Right
my
on
second time
Sarah,
through.
one's on scout.
Gravity
So-
lapse soon.
Across voice, you just heard there was a healer there making calls, who the Phoenix was on, so that's perfect. That's what we want to know. That gives that person an opportunity to get them away when we land.
Okay, live
So,
this, get those
Mage's
first
Priest
kick,
can
look
slow
for the
fall
first kick now.
from the
Same
top.
kick, second kick.
I've got a Phoenix coming for me, so I've spotted that coming through.
After you go.
and I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah,
going to
yeah.
run,
Come from back as well.
get pinched here, but that's the VE threat.
So far
Dead.
next kick.
So I was able to get them out away from the boss for a little bit, give that DPS the time to burn, and then
Just got
Push
second
boss,
kick.
push boss, push boss.
trying to
Push
jump
boss.
back on the boss,
Maintain distance from Phoenixes and kill the boss.
and
And
we
we're
bring
done.
it home for the
Yeah,
kill.
boys!
GG, boys.
So that's Kael. That's my breakdown of how we did it, guys. I hope you learned a thing. If you've got any questions, click them in the comments. If you enjoy this style of content as well, let me know. I'm more than happy to make similar videos in this style. If you watch this to the end, guys, and you're not subbed, do consider hitting that subscribe button. It helps me out more than you know. If you want me to go over logs for your guild, or you have gameplay footage you'd like me to review, really happy to do that as well. I would like to do more logs and gameplay reviews on the channel, so feel free to shoot me a message on Discord, and I'll see you in the next one.